welcome to episode 21 of Project Bramble.
Straight back into the garage. You just saw recently on YouTube episode 20, parts 1, 2 and 3 all done. So this leaves us to move on to episode 21, so welcome for that. This is episode 21. A nice sunny day and it's warm in the workshop, just about the right temperature for us to work. Camera's fixated on this quarter. The reason is it's coming off. The reason we take the quarter off now is because we're in phase 3 of the build. Roof all done, apart from little bits of tidying up, but that's comes later when we go over the entire car again in finer detail. For now we do the bulk of the work so that we can find out if there's any bits that we may be needing as we go along, and we say right, off with the quarter, off with the tub and off with the chassis leg. So when that chassis leg comes off, we need to support the car. We want to get this back on as quickly as we can, but there's a lot of spot welds to drill. Not too many for the tub, not too many for the quarter, with it almost being detached as it is. What we're going to do, we're going to open the quarter up now, so we'll slice up with the 1mm cutting disc, our friend, along here, up and to the roof, down this window aperture and round, then remove a kind of like the main face of the wing, leaving the other parts here attached. The reason I'm doing that is so that I can just weaken this metal and then flex it and pull it off. It's just quicker that way. Could go all the way down with spot weld drill bit if we wanted. We may do that. I'll just see how they're coming about, see how they're showing up. Sometimes some runs are hard to spot. Along here you can see that the weld is just at the edge of the panel, so I'll probably attack that with the belt sander. Crocky to you. Here you'll need a little bit of loosening up because you've got remnants of braze there on my finger. There's a repair to do for the opening window aperture slot. The rear quarters hinge out. They're fitted into these slots there with some rubber bungs. First thing I think I'll do is just open it up with the slitting disc and take the bulk of the metal away and get it out of the workshop. I have got a brand new quarter for this side, and we can hopefully by the end of today offer up that quarter and just see how it's fitting, and then at the same time remove the wheel tub and that chassis leg. The chassis leg will be probably the trickiest part of it, simply because there's so many spot welds to drill out, and also where it joins the what's left at the end, the tail end of it, where it joins the remaining chassis run underneath the boot floor. This has got quite a lot of welds going through, which are very hard to see, so we have to just break this down again with a grinder and the croc sander, so that we can separate the chassis leg away and leave that. So we're going to have quite a gaping hole left here by the time I've finished. So then it'll look a little bit scary, but probably not as scary as what we've seen with the roof coming off. Okay, tripod for you, slitting disc for me. Let's just open up some metal so we can start getting in, and we'll get this discarded. We don't really need it. I mean, I'll keep this swage line section just in case anybody needs it. If they've damaged that part and they're feeling brave where they might want to use that piece of metal. There is some part out of it. I mean, you could say someone has an accident and damages this area, it may have some use. I don't know, probably not. I could end up storing it for years and never get it used. It does seem a shame to throw metal away. So, but then again, you've got storage of it. This being bare metal as well, will need to be stored dry, and storage is a premium. So it's a tricky one for me. I do try and save as much as I conceivably can with the space that I've got. wastage we'd like to keep low. I mean, all the metal from this that's not used goes to the recycling place. Just put it in the recycling skip at the recycling centre so it gets back and it's not wasted, not landfilled. Okay, tripod, let's go. Let's get this cut off. Right, well, it's been a power cut, so we're working in the blind. Someone's dug some cables up here, the digger going and the power went. In the meantime, what I'm going to do, I broke away from doing the cutting off the quarter because the electric, so just going to, hold on, we're just going to start piloting out all these spot welds here. So our usual procedure, spot weld drill bit, then a pilot drill bit. This is quite a lot to do, and there are a lot of spot welds on the chassis fork at the back. So yeah, I think there's at least 80 or 90 of these welds, maybe not that many. Count them up in a total run, there could be, if you count going all the way to the back. Anyway, find all the spot welds out, usual procedure, pilot them out. And also where the tub attaches as well, we need to be getting the wheel tub out as well. We're going to be careful how we tackle the spot welds on this. Some of them can be attacked from inside the tub and save damaging the parts that are going to remain. And you may be able to spot weld back some of these with the actual, we might be able to get the spot weld arms in which case I don't want to put big holes in the actual panel. So I'm going to work out the most cost effective way of saving the panels. Because like this side here now, you could come in from this side and grind away because we're not keeping the tub itself. Even though the tub, it's not too bad, but I've got a whole new one. The outer lip of it's gone. That tub would repair if you wanted to. So we'll get it out in as much as one piece as we can, but some of it will have to be ground away. Spot weld drill bits, maybe. We'll see. I'll take my time with that. So just while the electric's off then, starting to mark out. You'll see more round here where those pilots have gone in. That's the extent to the chassis leg. Has a little outrigging bar that goes across into the middle, which supports the shock absorber. So there's plenty to be drilling, and use the time up while waiting for the power to hopefully come back on soon. I've separated off this bar at the top. That went nicely, just because it's in the way. That spar's in the way, and look how they weld it at the bottom. That's a factory finish there. For some reason that's not spot weldable. The tub actually comes with that bracket on, that 2-hole bracket there. Oops, you actually get that with the tub. Right, I'll carry on with these. You with me? Okay, with a quarter off, we can now get a little bit better access into the tub area. We'll be losing this tub, it's corroded away. I'm going to grind it back from this way because I think I can get the spot welder in when I put the new tub on. Be a bit better than trying to get plug welds in from the side. Although you could plug weld it from this side, to be fair, and it's easy access to file down the weld. So I don't know, there's not much in that really. If I can get it from this side and I don't drill any holes in this metal, then when I'm plug welding it, I've got nice metal to go to. So we won't damage the inner skin, the inner fabric there. We'll take this out. I've exposed them, so I might be able to localizely crock sand each one. I could drill some of these, but it's double skin thickness, so the spot weld drill bit might not like to go through both pieces. Well, I can nibble my way through it for one. I'll see how it goes. I'll start with a few. Excuse me. Tub coming out, and then I've propped up this parcel shelf because it'll try and drop down the end, so that's chocked up there, and then we'll put the jack underneath that, so it's basically a straight column all the way through to the ground. So we follow underneath where that block of wood is, and then we pump the jack up into it so it's all the way down. It's not going to move anyway because that chassis leg's not coming out yet. The roof will try and hold it up. We take a few measurements as well. I don't think that's going to go anywhere, but I'll put a support all the way through the car. As long as that doesn't move, we'll have to make sure it's stable. Okay, the quarter will guide it all back in anyway, because this isn't going to move at the back. As you fit the quarter, it'll tug it back in. I've not taken this off. What I'll do, I'll leave this connected, take off the remnants of the quarter wing, so that when we park it, it's going to land where this is, so that's not moving relative to the car. And then we'll tackle this last. So the tub needs to come off so I can get access to the chassis leg a bit easier. Once the tub's off, I can start looking at the chassis. I've already, in the power cut, power's back on. In the power cut we drilled quite a few out, ran out of battery power, battery on charge, battery charged actually, and we can carry on with that as well. But the main thing now, just get the tub out for now, just for this evening. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll try drilling a few of these, see how they go. If it's not, the spot weld drill bit ain't getting it through, I'll try taking the nib out like I've done on double thickness skin. You can drill one thickness, get the disc out that the hole cutter leaves, then take the nib away, then drill again. We'll see how that works. I'll see how quick that goes. Started on these ones, I can take them out. Actually drilled right through on this, didn't need to. But actually, I don't know if the spot welder will actually get to that one. It'll definitely get to these. Anyway, it's not too bad. It's not too much to do. These ones on the inside, they will be be drilled from the back and welded from the back, because you can't get to them with the spot welder because they're straight to the tub. I just don't think the arms will get round. It's not a big deal to plug weld that. From there, it's pretty accessible. So I've got a plan. I'm going to start now by pulling the tub out. Here we go for some drilling. Slowly nibbling our way through. Some have gone, some are away. We're away there. As you can see, it's separating off. We're away on some of the brackets underneath as well. I've drilled from the back on these just under that tub. You see we've come in from this side, may as well. So a couple of the inner structures have now just come very cleanly and just pinged off. Nice. Show you what I mean. There you go. A few more to go. That one is just under tension, but I think that one's gone. Certainly moving in my hand there now. That'll just snap that, no problem. It's got it there almost. This one just needs a little bit of a helping hand with the croc sander, and then these ones along here starting to go, but just need to nibble in a little bit with the crocky. The whole cutter won't get through deep enough. I've took the nib out, but I've not got a drill bit. In fact, actually I've remembered where some drill bits are. What I'm going to do, I'll just take the inside bit of that off and then just go again with the whole cutter. It's just because it's 2 levels deep, that's all. We've covered this before in the films, where when you do 2 levels, because the whole bit's set for 1 deep to stop damaging the panel behind it, it's set for that depth. But what you do, you just take the nib out and carry on. So you just get a drill bit in. We'll do that now. Okay, whack one tub out. Not too bad with them spot weld runs along there. They come out quite easy, the tubs. And then luckily we had this tub, so we'll get it cleaned up before we fit it, but just wanted to see how the lay of the land was. Where it gets difficult is the intersection with the sill at the bottom, but we're okay there. Just got to give it a bit of persuasion, and it's shaped to fit in the back part of the sill, and this is where you hope that your sill is fitted right, because otherwise you have problems getting the tub to drop into the back. I've done it, I think I haven't actually done a full tub since the swampy days, but I have fitted the other way around. I've fitted the sill to the good tub on Ruby, so that it's the opposite of this. But that's alright. So I'm going to take it back out again now and start cleaning up, and I want to really get the chassis leg out for this part of the video. And we need to get into these welds that are there. They're going to be tricky because I've got to get round the other side as well. We've got to break that down and get that leg off, and we've got to support the car as well, and do a few more measurement checks. It can get a little bit wavy at the back end. Watch this. You can see that. But we've got some good measurements, and it does pull itself back in together. The wing helps you when the wing fits along this edge, and you've got to attach it to the back sections. You've got to lift it back into the wing, and it guides it. So you're looking at the wing fitting onto the tub lip, and the wing fitting onto the back of this roof section here, which doesn't move, and then drawing it back up. Again, it's to a degree it's quite self-guiding. Particular reference paid to the door gap when you're fitting the quarter. So it always looks worse than it is when you do get this far in and you pulled your quarter off and then virtually no boot. You end up with no back end almost. But it does guide itself, as I said. You have to, each panel has to fit in with the next panel, and ultimately you end up lining up with the sill there, lining up with the roof, and it draws back together. Because even if you did brace it up, you only pull the bracing off anyway when you're trying to get your final panel fitment, because you're never going to get it exactly how you took it all off. When you drop this quarter onto here, it's always going to land a little bit differently, and your bracing would have to be cut and re-altered to draw it up, and that level of error is only the same as me leaving this floating. I have got wooden chocks going in now, so there is a degree of bracing, but there's a lot of measurements. The measurement system's always worked so far on the car where we've double checked it. There's no reason why I can't continue with that system down here with this tub. What I'll probably do before I go any further, just to satisfy myself, is I'll take off this excess metal where the quarter fitted, get it all cleaned up and ready here as well, and then round the light cluster. Quite a bit of sanding back to get these off and leave everything intact, and then I'll fit the quarter and see how it lines up with this arch, because that's the hardest bit to get. So we've got the new quarter, so we can offer it up to the car and just get a general mock-up of this side. I think that's a good thing to do, is to clean all this. So what we'll do when we're doing that, we'll do a few tripod shots of that work. So I'll just put you on the window ledge of the garage and you go on the tripod, and we'll just do a bit of crock sanding, really, nothing that we haven't seen already on the build. Just nibbling away at the edges of the crock, with the crock sander at the edges of the quarter fitment round the windows and the apertures, and a little bit of remaining quarter panel stuff there to get rid of, so that we can then bring it in out the stores, offer it into there, clamp it, have a look how it all fits. If we're happy that we've got a fit situation with no big problems, then take the quarter back off with the clamps, take the tub out, get them treated and cleaned, either dipped or sandblasted, shot blasted, soda blasted, depending on what we want to do. That'll give those two panels. By the time we've got up to there, I'm hoping that the chassis fork will be ready from the dippers. So what we'll be doing after we've taken off the tub and the quarter and put them to one side, or took them to get cleaned, we'll then start removing the remains of that chassis leg under here, not the back one, because that's all right, this one, and get ready to get the new one fitted. So its chassis leg would go back on, then the tub would go on, then the quarter would go on, and that would give you that area done. You would then be in a situation where you're ready to fit a boot floor. Now, I will fit the tub, I will fit the leg and weld them in, but I won't weld in the quarter, because it might be handy to be able to take the quarter off while we're doing the floor. So we'll just probably hold it with some screws, because we might need to take it off to get easier access when we start to do that floor pan. That's a bit of a plan for the pan. Okay, tripod for you, bit of grinding for me. Carrying on going, isn't it fun? We're in that quarter end, looking good. Okay, a little bit of a tricky bit. We've got to get in and take the remains of the quarter off, which means just breaking into it. You can just see the lip of it just behind there, comes up to about just under the roof. So we've got a little bit of braze as well, we've got to melt off to get a clean finish on that. But before we do, we need to see where the spot welds are and try and get the crocky blade in. It's a little bit tricky this, just to get them out. I can just about see the spot welds. I'll scuff them up now, mark them, and then we'll attack with the crocky and try and just break that free. That's probably the trickiest bit of getting your quarter off. We're alright along there, dead straight forward. Here shouldn't be too bad down that B-pillar run, but here's just a little bit hidden. Round the window aperture, not a big deal. It's quite a bit, taking a bit longer than I thought to do, but slowly eating away at it. So we'll keep you updated as I keep nibbling away at the remains of the quarter and getting it nice and clean, ready to receive that panel. An easier way, I managed to accurately get those spot welds. So if you're going to do it, go from this side, because you've got a plug weld in anyway. So we got that out without too much fuss. Snap the braze at the bottom, a little bit of cleaning up to do. So that bit's gone. Now we've tackled down here, straight run down, this shouldn't be too bad. Let's give that a go. See those quite clearly now. We can either drill or grind back. All the spot welds down that side of the window aperture have come up quite clearly. Okay, I'll mark them out now with a yellow pen. Crocky to the rescue on this run. There we go, we're off. Almost. There we are. So we've got most of it. Watch with a crocky, you don't go over way through it. Well, I managed that pretty good, a little bit to clean up there. So that's that bit off. Working our way down now to around this area. A little bit trickier here, harder to spot the welds. Some lead there. I don't know if it's all gone, the lead, or not, but plenty of breaking down to do around here, and then finally end up down by the tail light. So that bit was okay. Crocky did the job there. Didn't need to spot weld drill it. I didn't really want to have holes in this because I'm gonna get the spot welder on around that one for a really good finish. Okay, keep it on going. I'll keep you updated. Braze in this corner. We'll have to remember, make sure that we do that when we reassemble everything there. So watch out for braze. Just that corner there. Right, I'm just round that last bit of the wing where it meets the gutter channel here. Gutter. Bit of braze on it, and also you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10 welds, and then a few other welds which hold the gutter onto the parcel shelf, so they may not touch the wing. Definitely 3 or so there and a few down there, so we're going to have to start getting into those now with the spot weld driller. A little bit of fun around this end, but we get there in the end. A little bit of braze to break, you saw that, and then just a question of accurately hitting your spots, then wobbling it out. It was one, it's just slotted in, the inner wing's just slotted in between these gutter folds, so I'm just, must be on a pivot there, just trying to get the last remnant out without shaking your screen. I think you get the idea. We have one piece of metal, I think it's just the very last corner. That's the one! So there's the inner wing, sorry, the quarter wing slotting into that gutter arrangement there, and then brazed into this tab. So this needs a repair, this gutter channel end. Well, not massive amounts, we're going to have to save most of this here and repair just that there, so we can save all that area. It's intact and good. This is what we're trying to do with the car. How about keeping that? You would never have thought you could have kept that. That'll go again. This just needs a small piece, which I've got the metal for it to do it. Okay, so that's that area done. Just clean up underneath that tab. There's a little bit of the quarter wing left just attached underneath this brazed tab. It's actually spot welded through it, so I'm just going to attack them from the back because there's not much of that tab to drill. Then we approach this end here. Looks like that's all the faces done. Down there, across the tub, down the window, round to the back. Remove that light cluster backing plate down here on that face of the inner, that's the inner valance, inner rear valance, and then the inner rear quarter valance panel, badly corroded that one. We've got those panels, got that panel, got that panel, so we've got all the panels we need to rebuild the back end. All we've got to do is make sure everything goes together as it should. So I've gently crock sanded away the tabs. No point trying to spot weld drill all those out. So if you keep nibbling away and you've got plenty of belts in stock, take your time, have your ear defenders on and your goggles, some good lights so you can see, and you can nibble away. It makes quite a bit of dust. We vac all that up towards the end of the day, please. Don't be treading around, it'll tread into the house. So vac up, please, everybody, when you're doing your workshops. Let's see some clean floors. You can work better once you get rid of all the mess. Next day when you come in, you feel like giving that extra 1, 2, buckle my shoe. I can now go out to stores, get the quarter, and just see how it fares up, because every mating face we have prepped, with the exception of a little bit of stray metal there. Everything is ready to receive our gift. Oh no, haha! One last bit on the B pillar to do. So a bit more nibbling to go. And then I think we're done, everybody. Let's just have a think about it. Yeah, I don't see why not. I think that's it. Looks a big impact when you take that off, doesn't it? You lose a lot of the car. If I was to take the back end off now, we start tipping backwards visually, and it's like, oh my god, we're all looking complete when we had the front end on and the roof and then the floor, and then the roof was off, and now we're losing all the back end and it's starting to go back, looking like it's on its way out again, but it's not. It's alright, it'll soon transform itself around. The main objective is to get all the faces clean and make sure that our wing does fit all right. And then once we do that, we'll take the wing away, take the tub away, get them prepped, and we'll start hacking away and getting that chassis leg off, because that's a big job. That needs a lot of work to get that off. I've already started with some of the drilling some of the welds. What am I on about? So just got to carry on and get the rest, and then prop the car up, because it's currently landed and resting and mounted on the chassis leg. So we need to dismount from there, take the bolt out, and brace the car somewhere else. So working our way. So once we're into this corner, that is the end of the car in terms of the big welding. So we're nearly there, everybody. Okay. That is that face now cleaned up. So really there is nothing stopping the wing going on. A little bit of cleaning up during that corner where the quarter wing brazes into the B pillar. Just had to, another super job for Crocky to get in and clean that out all the way along there. So that B pillar now clear and ready to receive the wing's edge. So I'll go out and get the wing now and loft it up and just see where we're at, and then we can keep on moving. We'll have a tidy up then and get ready for tomorrow's big session on it. So just a bit of evaluation, bit of cleaning up, and a bit of just checking out how the tub fits and it goes in well. And now we'll see that wing. Let's see how that goes. Let's go and get it. Leave me for a minute. I'll go and drag it out of the storeroom. Right then, okay, I've been out to stores and guess what? Offered it up, and yet again another panel like to just snap in, even though the tub's only got a few clamps on it. Bump, in we go there nicely. We follow along that ridge, if you look. Okay, up here where those plug welds will be into that gutter channel, and that's that fillet there. You have a little plate behind that, we have to fit the plate down following this B post. Completely follows that B pillar correctly. Down the bottom here we land perfectly. We were worried about this, weren't we? But look, we land straight on where we want. A little bit of trimming to do on that piece of metal I made at the bottom of the B pillar. I knew it was a bit wide, so I just trim a touch off that, and then the wing will go all the way back to the B pillar. But look at that, we've got no problems there for the quarter panel. No problems there for the quarter. Up and fitting in here, round we go. No problems at the back, all the slots into where I've just took all the metal out of. So it's just like for like gone on, and it loves the wheel tub set up at the back, no problem. Everything's intersecting. This was the difficult area, and it always is, to get all those panels there to intersect correctly. Considering we've had those sills off and we've had that inner sill off, and we've had the floor pan away. To get that all to land like that, we've done really well there. You know, I'm quite made up with that. And it follows the tub nicely as well, and lands down where it should at the back. So we're happy with our panel setup. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to establish that we could fit it, slot it in place, do what we needed to do. All right, how about that? So I can take it off again now, knowing that it's all good, and get on with the rest of the work. So little bit of a test, and we can get this panel nicely cleaned up as well. So let's get that nicely cleaned up. Let's continue on with that chassis work now. We'll have a brush up now. It's time for a brush up and a break till tomorrow, but tomorrow sees us on that chassis leg. Hope you're enjoying the show so far. Always start with a clean workshop each day. So, another day. I left you lining the wing up. So after I'd done that, I cleaned up, vacked all the floor, got any panels that I might need imminently ready, then took a little step back. Just time to clear your head and think about the next projects, the next areas, not projects, the next areas to go for. I salvaged out the fillet piece. There it is. That's the little piece which Ford fitted to the quarter panel or the roof, depending on which side it went on first. It's not attached to the car. That creates the join between the two panels, which Ford then went on and leaded. We can either lead or we can fill. Be better if it's leaded, be more factory, wouldn't it? We'll have to get onto that perhaps. Although in them days the fillers weren't as good as they are now. Today's modern fillers are as good as lead. With it being on the vinyl roof as well, it's not super uber critical. We'll give that some thought. So it fits in good. I think I left you just a few seconds ago on the clips having a look at how that went. And the area that worried me, I suppose, would have been the area around the wheel housing tub, but it does follow it perfectly, just pinching it between there. So I'm not worried about when I come to reassemble this. And also that area that could have gone wrong around the sill that hasn't, means that the sill went on properly. I hope the other side's as good as this. So we've done good there. I've just got to hope the other side is like that, because I'm well pleased. It just makes a nice deal. It just seals it nicely. So we need to get the tub back off, release all these clips here, then we can start getting to this chassis leg. We've got to support the car and take it off this and break this out and get ready to fit the new one when it comes in from the dippers. If it doesn't come in from the dippers soon, I'm gonna be stuck for jobs. So what I'll probably do is switch around to little annoying little things. Stuff like this needs some metal letting into it. That'll take up a good few days, and hopefully by then the dippers are on board. I could look round, try and hunt down any jobs that need doing, smallish jobs while we're waiting. We can also get some of this scrap metal out of here. I'll have to do a run to the recycling depot, put it all in the metal bin at the recycling depot, probably go through and clean the workshop, dust everything down, get all the layers of dust off that have built up since we've done it, and then we can start talking to people about getting stuff re-chromed and repaired, and getting stuff that's going to take ages in the pipeline now. Plan the interior out and start thinking about stripping the engine clip as well, and getting all the parts of the engine clip powder coated. You've seen that on Swampy, you've seen it on Project Ruby. So again, the same thing, we get the clip in here and we start stripping it down. There's panels to shot blast, the engine, the bonnet to do. Engine bay will get blasted back, soda blasted back, even though I've painted it. That was just to stop it rusting, as you know. Loads of things to keep going. I need to start doing lists, got a little whiteboard, and get that up on the wall and start putting down jobs and begin the process of sort of juggling and shuffling your outsourced jobs, the jobs which involve third parties like trim, chrome, plastic rechroming, things like that, trim for the carpets, all that kind of stuff. And also galvanising as well. We've got boxes and boxes under here of all the parts, trim clips and things, and nuts and bolts. We need to start getting every single component, nut and bolt, that needs zinc galvanising with a gold passivate. We need to find all the trim clips and everything like that. We're now getting to that point where we can start to be thinking about logistic operations, because as you can see from this, I'm going to try and step back into the workshop as far as I can reach without getting caught up in the tools. You can see that it's starting to take shape faster than we thought, right? Which means we're well ahead of the game, and we've got summer on our side as well, so everything's looking good and we're ahead. There's some doors to get done. We're not using these doors. There's some doors to pick up and check out. There's lots to do. It's just which bit do you do first? Well, I'm definitely going to be pulling off the chassis leg. That's my next job. So you'll now see the wing back off again, the wheel tub out, and I'm starting to break into this troublesome many spot weld chassis leg. There's a lot of spot welds in there. Look at them. Loads. Okay, here we go. Wing off, wheel tub out again. Episode 21. Okay, first phase of getting this chassis leg out. Start drilling as many as we can, as many spot welds as we can find, and then big monster block of wood under here. Jack it up and get it on axle stands. Brace that block of wood across the new chassis legs, or that new chassis leg on that side and the repaired one on that side, with the new floor pan. Should support the car quite well. So I cut my jack under there and then just line the wood up. Then we're going to let it rest on that, and that'll leave no tension on these chassis legs other than the dolly itself, which is lifted up. We can take the dolly and pivot it down if we want, but at the moment I'm going to use the dolly as a bit of leverage to start pulling on this and starting to crack the spots. They've already started to go here. Look, the floor's starting to separate, but I'm anticipating this to be tricky, because even though you drill all your spots, they still manage to grip. So we're going to hope that we get a good detach and get this whole piece off. Let's get that off. Let's see how long it takes. I reckon we're into an hour or two to get this off clinically. Alright, so let me just get my axle stands under there to straighten the block of wood, because it's a little bit skewed. So I'll go back round that side and just straighten that up. Then I'll start tugging away at this and let's see what we get. So chassis fork, that's this whole section here. Go under so you can see what I mean. That piece there that supports the axle, only up to the point of the rear. It's in two sections. Second piece comes along and supports the floor. That's all right. We're going to have to break it away. It is spot welded on quite a lot. We might have to cut into this and chisel away at it with the grinders to get it to separate off, because I want it where it leaves that piece and it leaves the front chassis piece, and then a new piece I can slot in. It pushes in that way and then drops on top this way. So we're going to be able to go like this with the new section. Let's just get a better angle. We're going to drop it in like that, push up and get it welded, and that shouldn't alter any positions. It's going to come back in exactly the same place. Okay, so straighten up the block of wood and then start pulling and seeing if any of them start to crack. Let's hope they do before we do. Plenty of light today because it's bright and sunny. Brilliant. Okay, just turn the radio down for you then. Wow, that was a mission. We knew it would be. In we take you, you go in. We started by breaking the bottom ones, working our way up and just snapping them. Most actually went. There's a couple that held on for dear life, but most actually went. There was one hidden one as well that was holding me up. You always get one that you've missed. The hardest job for this, not so much taking your time and drilling out every single spot weld as accurately as you can, because if you do take your time to do that, it'll pay off. The hardest part was separating it from the remaining chassis leg. Now I could have just sliced straight through here, but what I was trying to do is leave the chassis exactly in the right place here, so when I put this back on it meets up with that. This end needs repairing, but the rest of the chassis leg's good. That's the bit that goes under the boot, so that's not too bad. But I was grinding away at it for ages, trying to because I know how many spot welds they have when they join the two chassis together, and I had to chisel through in the end. Excuse me, I had to chisel through just to break the end of this away from that, because it just couldn't get any tools in there to separate it up. If the car was upside down it might have been a bit easier, but the way I was working then, you can see it looks like a bomb's gone off. Yeah, so boom. That was tricky. I have got this reciprocating saw. I'll just bring it into your view now, which does help, and you can slice through it. I forgot that I actually had that halfway through chiseling. Anyway, it's a bit messy for my liking, that end. The actual chassis itself is undamaged. I've done all the damage to the piece that I'm taking off. So what I can do is clean the end of this chassis once this is out of the way. This floor will need its edge repairing, so it'll need a piece of metal curb to shape and then letting in on top, and a little bit of straightening of the floor. But we'll slowly start to break this chassis leg away. I used the crowbar. I'll show you what I did, because you're never going to get it just falling off. You might do it. Let me know if you did that. But just a little bit. You've got to be careful you don't dent the floor with localized crowbar dents. But working my way in, and we're nearly ready to separate out. It may be still holding on there, I'm not sure. It just doesn't want to let go at that end. It's gone, it's gone, it's gone. I'm glad you were with me when that happened. I should be able to. Whoa! Woo! I think that's the lion's share of it gone. Yep. We've got our chassis leg free. Now we've got to get it out of the bottom end there, so I need to pull back. I'll put you on the tripod. Let's see if we can extract this. This is a very large piece of chunk of metal that's going to come out, so let's get you on the tripod. We should be able to just pull this backwards out of the car now. Wow, what a trip. I knew this wouldn't be easy. Soon gets messy. Woo! I've been on this 1 hour and 45 minutes. Papa! Oh! Can we get it? Can we get it? Or is the dolly in the way? The dolly could be in the way, because the dolly hasn't dropped all the way down because we're still hooked in with a bolt on that side of the dolly, but the dolly does pivot, so let me, if you understand what means, I don't. Boom! Dolly down. Now I definitely didn't connect it to that chassis leg. So it should withdraw. Oh yeah! Woo! Here's my trophy. Out doing a big game. actually don't agree with that, by the way. I think that's cruel hunting to ban them swines from killing animals. That's what we got. What an elephant! Look at that. You can see why I didn't want to repair that in the car. How many are lurking out there with all this rot inside your car? Stop worrying. Nah, don't worry, just fill it with wax oil and you won't have to worry about it. So, if your car's out there, blast these things full of anything you can. Get a high pressure lance. Don't use a shotgun that draws out the tin. Use one where you get a pressurized vessel and blow and fill these up with oil, wax oil, Dinitrol, anything you can when you're restoring your car. Or if you're not doing a full resto, this is rare that people go this far and pull these off, so you might have one. Make sure that you do any welding repairs to it before you do start wax oiling it. Otherwise, when you do have to come to weld it, if you've got to do a little patch, which quite often you might have a really mint Cortina Mk3, 4 or 5, where you get this here, and the rest of it can be really good. So don't worry if you have got that on yours. You can easily plate that as long as it's not extensive. You can get them cameras quite cheap now, where you could put the camera inside it and have a look round. There are access points you could get in, but let's just give you a bit of hope. Considering this was pretty rotten, it actually would have still held on quite well to the axle points. There's still plenty of grip on there. That's why Bramble was able to drive. So don't despair if you think yours might be rotted out. You can localise them. Look, there's a lot of strength to get your plates onto there. So that's one of them jobs where a localised plate on here is not a bad move if your rot's just there, and then later on when you've done that, fill it full of rust treatment stuff. That had to come off. I'm not looking forward to taking the ones off the donor panels based on how long this took. You can see I'm covered in muck and filth and grime. It wasn't a job I enjoy. That was fun. I haven't counted how many I drilled, but I think I will count them, just so we know. Right, it's time to clean up all the mess that I made doing that job, then start cleaning this area up. We need to now start making a repair edge for this and prepping that area ready for when the new panel, the new chassis fork arrives. Underneath it's quite rusty, so there's a lot of prep and clean work to do now. That's going to take me a good day, so that'll make use of the time while we're waiting for panels to arrive. Indeed, the chassis forks, as we speak, are in the dipping tank getting de-rusted, and they come with the floor piece cut out, so I'm going to have to take all that off again, go through all this again. Although it will be easier because it's cut out of the car. I can come in at the top, it won't be too bad. Okay, let me get on and start cleaning and repairing this floor edge here. Okay, so after a clean up we go into stores, and I forgot they had this, enough metal on here that we can cut out. This is a piece of chassis section chopped and placed into stores a long time ago. Never knew when I might need it, and the contingency planning has paid off. We can use that section to graft into here and repair this damaged edge of the back section of the floor, see. What we're going to do to get that, I'm going to salvage this metal out. We're going to get the knot brush on it, just get that paint off there, then similarly drill the spot welds off here, but then get the slitting disc and cut out just that shape that we need to bring you up, just that shape that we need. Only need to get there, so we'll lay it over it, scribe a line, then cut that hold out, then MIG that on. So we're going to extract that now, so I'll clean it up and get cutting and get that little piece of repair section out. They'll go in there quite nicely. Right, should make a neat repair that. I'll get busy on this now. Okay, there's our donor piece. I'll get that lined up and get that in there. Some markings on it. Not quite enough to get right to the end, but it's enough to do the lion's share of it. Okay, let's graft that in. Woo! Okay, looking good. Our repair piece, the edge of this floor to finish us nicely, goes in so that when we get that chassis leg back, we've got a good edge, and when the wheel tub goes in, we've got a nice edge to that horrible corroded mess. So that'll start to really tidy up this corner. We'll start to make good progress in this corner, getting it really nice and rot free, straight and solid and tidy. So we need to get the welder up and running now and get that MIG'd in. That's the next task. Welder on, clamp that up, and welder on. Okay, repair patches in, now ready for dressing the welds up. We've got them quite flat. MIG one's a little bit better with a new roll of wire in it. I'm wondering if I had some rust on my MIG wire, because it was very old MIG wire. It runs a lot smoother with a new roll. I ran out of MIG, 0.6 I'm on. I ran out anyway, just gone and got a new roll and doesn't crackle as much. welds, getting them a little bit flatter, as you can see. So I'm happy with that, that's nice. We'll get that dressed up with a croquis, and let's see what it looks like. We'll just put a little bit of paint on it. That should be a nice face for the wheel tub. So that's that bit repaired. We can start looking toward the back now and start getting towards that chassis to clean up as well. There's plenty to do. Hey, Patreon bonus footage. People want to see the dashboard. Okay, let's have a look at the dashboard. We're in the North Yorkshire Dales for another Ruby road trip. Cruise control. Most cruise controls, they're worth every penny. The one on this, worth about a penny. Nah, it's not as good. Sit back, relax and enjoy this road trip now through the Yorkshire Dales. We've got some waypoints programmed along the way for your viewing pleasure. Temperature and weather conditions are good. Outside your left window is the Bay of Biscay. West coast of France there. Straight ahead you've got some mountains with some rocks on the top. And we've got a straight road for your viewing pleasure. Ruby road trip bonus footage. Cortina City at the controls. Big shout out to the Lee Holmes monster. Let's go. Roadkill pheasant, tonight's tea. I believe this is an adventurous road. Another rock there, plenty of rocks to roll over. I think it was a potato. Caravan for Andy on the left. Oh no, it's a water bowser, sorry. Ooh. Whoa. Whoops. What's the name of the road? Love on the sat-nav. In the blue box, just at the top.
Little street or something.
The blue box, just the numbers. Just the numbers. A6. A684. What a road. A684 then. Wow. Woo! It's a roller coaster. Not that one, is it? We're looking for a pub as well that we found once. Crow. Cow on a sign. Car. Whoa! Woo! I'll switch that on in a sec.
That's fine.
Fuel is low, so we better pull in a nice bit of refreshments and some fuel. See what we got. See how much the petrol is. Right. There's a bit of a problem with the pump. Old school service station. It's called Swarthgill service station. A nice Champion spark plug sticker, and I can see some goodies in the window for sale. Let's check them out. See if there's anything we can. A Motorcraft. Look there. Oil filter box. Whoa. How much for that, please? It must be like a little shop window because it's got like them pegboard, hasn't it? Wow, an old school oil. I could do the top up.
Is it oil?
I think so.
Yeah.
Great, let's have a look round. Old school. Is it a Tocking or an Avery? Give me some numbers, give them me fast. I can't tell. Last of the old school petrol stations. This is Swarthgill service station. It's old school. Wow. Just pull the boost switch, it's fine.
No, it's enough, that's fine.
To close my vent, you'll get more. To the right, that's it, push that up. Oh, there's loads, look.
Come on, little monkeys.
Wonder what they...
Look at them all watching the jump. Come on. We're going back for our mummies.
Comes a crazy biker. Let's see how fast he comes through here. Is he going to boot it? Or will he take it easy? Here he comes.
Oh, that one over there, they're jumping, did I?
I've never seen one of them jump yet.
Just watch, they were just doing it. Come on. There's these two over this side. Come on. Look. Look.
No, still not seen it jump. They can move, can't they? Never realised they could run that quick.
I didn't. Oh. Look, this little one here.
A swarm of angry bees.
Didn't off, bomb it off.
A swarm of angry bees. Same to you.
Oh, I love them. Watching.
Bumblebee. Bumblebee.
Oh.
Bumblebee. Big one, that. What a great view. Doesn't do it justice on the camera lens.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Just doesn't. There's nothing you can entice them with, is there really? Don't think they eat carrots.
Why have you got one?
No. I have to go and dig one up. This is the beginning of the forest of Bowland. Famous for owls. That's for Cortina.